Yes, yes, y'all, and you don't stop. I tell you what, boy, if you say I sound like Will Smith, it's on site. Ryan.
No, okay. No, it was Comp Low was in that, not Will Smith, but it was a Will Smith song. So that's something you got to work out.
I got to work that out, but today we gonna work it out. It's Fight Court. I'm Dean Thomas, my man Ryan Quinn. So, how's your weekend going so far, homie?
It's good. Didn't do much yesterday. Just did some shit around the house. Today, Notre Dame's baseball team was in town playing FAU. I took my son down there. Yeah, it's like right down the road. I didn't even know they were there. And I don't usually watch college baseball, but I checked that out, and then we came home and
What are them games like in terms of like fan attendance?
So it's funny you say that. I guess I don't know why I expected anything more. I expected more, but it was $12 a ticket, and there was a general admission seating, and most people just brought their own lawn chairs and just sat on the sides. And I guess when I go again, that's what I'm going to do. It's easy, I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way for it, but like it's a nice Sunday afternoon thing to do with my son. So I enjoyed it. It was easy. That's the best way I can put it. Mm-hmm.
I get that. Doing it with your son, I can see how that would be kind of fulfilling.
Yeah.
Especially for a Sunday.
The hot dogs were more expensive than the ticket. So but yeah, it was easy. It's like a nice, easy thing to do to get out of the house. So I liked it. Plus, you know me, I like baseball, so it was good.
Yeah. So I just got back from I travel a lot. I just got back from Philly, but prior to that, I was in Vegas for UFC BJJ. I don't know if you saw it. You said you would try to catch it, but
dude, I did.
I get it.
Oh, dude, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Oh.
The good thing about me, man, like some people would like lie about it and say, "Oh yeah, I caught some of it." I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll never have to lie to me to be like, "Hey man, I saw it."
Yeah, but I have every intention to watch it, and then I don't even remember what happened. With the work was crazy, and I fell asleep at like 8:30 on Thursday. So like I think that was part of the issue. I just completely missed it. So I really do. It's shame on me. It's not. Yeah, I'm so bad with it.
Well, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but I'll just say I thought it was good. I thought there was a lot of good stuff happening in there. Some good storylines, really good competitors, some good stuff. So catch that if you are listening to the show, watching the show. Catch it. I don't know what other people think. I know some people are like, "Oh, I can't watch it." But for me, I found it to be really compelling, and I thought it was a good display of a lot of strong jiu-jitsu skills. So
great. I don't know how people I think that people or promotions are doing very good with making BJJ exciting for the fans. I think they're doing a lot better than people give it credit. I know it's not mixed martial arts. I thought of a rule for BJJ promotions to put into play that I think would work a lot. I said that when a competitor pulls guard, they have 2 minutes to make something happen. Otherwise, they get stood back up, and it's either a point or an advantage towards the opponent. But like they have to sweep or submit the person. Otherwise, if they're just hanging out on bottom, or they're just like or half guard, or I mean, if the person that got the guard pulled on them, if they pass, then clock's off. But could you see like the fans being like doing the countdown, like getting involved with it?
Here's what I'll say, and I get where you're coming from, but I think this whole thing is initiated from a wrestling bias that kind of took place from MMA because, like, remember that certain point in MMA where it was just like wrestlers were dominating, so then wrestling became the thing, and then they started adopting rules for more wrestlers, and it's like this wrestling oriented thing. What I saw on Thursday night with BJJ is that when guys pulled guard and there was an aggressive passer, it made it exciting.
Okay, that's cool.
And it put the burden on the passer, not the bottom person. Because when I saw Ronaldo Jr., Tarek Hopstock was pulling guard on him, and Ronaldo Jr. was aggressively passing. It made it exciting, as opposed to them backing up saying, "No, stand up, stand up, stand up." But when the burden was on the passer, it changes our perspective of what we think about guard pullers.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm totally with it.
So I think, you know, and I see what you're saying though, right? Because we've always thought of it as, oh man, you're pulling guard, that's weak. But when you put the burden, you flip it and you say, no, you got to pass. You can't back up.
Hmm.
You got to get down in the guard and try to pass. It changes the perspective of how you see the whole situation. It fully changed it. So, and we saw it with Harrison Gabriel did it to young Landon Elmore, who's a tremendous guard player, and he just was trying to smash through his guard, and it was pretty exciting to watch that. At least in my perspective, it was.
All right.
So
I am going to watch it, and we're gonna talk about it next week,
yeah.
regardless if it's a week back or not. Because I should be watching. I feel terrible because I love jujitsu. I love watching. It's during the week is tough for me. I just shut down. But no, I
No,
gotta get
I
on.
get it, man. I totally get it because it's not, like with UFC is very consistent with happening on like Saturday nights, or if you're watching other events, like they happen on certain nights, but then
Hmm.
BJJ comes around, you know, this is its fifth event and it's every couple of months on a Thursday night. It's hard to remember that this thing is happening unless you're,
Yeah, but I was also that douchebag that was like, "Why doesn't the UFC have a BJJ event?" And now I'm always fucking missing it. So,
but still, man, I get, no, trust me, I get it. Like once it becomes like a really consistent thing where you know it's going to happen, then I can say, Ryan, man, handle your business. But
yeah.
again, like it's a random Thursday night. There
Hmm.
was no other event this weekend, so it's like you're kind of not in martial arts mode already. So
Hmm.
I get it. But I know we're gonna talk about some Matt Brown stuff, and I want to get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I want to, like, you know what? Let's just get into that right now because I think that's important. All right. So, do you have the exact quote on you that he said or
Uh,
anything, or no? Or do you want me to just paraphrase it? I can just
you,
paraphrase it.
you could paraphrase it.
Well, essentially, what Matt Brown is saying, he said this. I don't know where he said it. You sent it to me.
Let's see.
It's verifiable, but
It was okay. MMAfighting.com posted it. That doesn't mean he said it there, though.
right. Well, he said it, and he's
Yeah,
basically I'm going to paraphrase. What he's saying is that the White House card it can't live up to whatever promises that they say because there are not enough stars in order to make that happen.
that's what he said, or more
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah, more or less. Just, and so really what it comes down to, and we've talked about this before, is that the general assumption right now, currently in the state of MMA, is that there are no stars. Now, the UFC will argue with that. I'm sure certain fighters will argue with that,
Hmm.
but the consensus is there are no stars. Do you think do UFC has a star problem?
First of all, okay. To sum it up, yes, but I don't. I think that's a little unfair at the same time. We don't have the Conor McGregor megastar anymore, or even like the heavyweight division's kind of a mess, and people love watching heavyweight fights. So it's a weird time. So first of all, I feel like Donald Trump over delivered on the UFC White House card, not necessarily Dana or anybody else. It was Donald Trump that said 7 or 8 title fights or some bullshit like that. It was, which is not feasible. But anyway, I think that this is the card is it is going to under deliver a little bit because there is a little bit of a spatial issue with as far as who's fighting and where. Now, that doesn't mean that like Max Holloway can't do a quicker turnaround from March and stuff like that. Things going on. But I mean, they haven't announced any fights yet, right?
No, they have not announced any fights yet.
So, okay, with everything I just said, now, okay, this week, and obviously we're going to talk about this weekend coming up. The fight nights are phenomenal right now. They're absolutely phenomenal. This is a great fight night coming up, and if you look at the next 3 4 weeks, the fight nights are great. The numbered events kind of lacking a little bit. So what does that tell you? That means that the UFC is not that they're in a star problem mode. They're in developmental right now as far as with the stars they have. And these people that they're going to take off really soon, like my man Ramij Brahimaj, I'm so pissed he's on the prelims, but we could talk about that later. But there's a lot of people coming in. There's actually a lot of people on this card this weekend that have a seriously bright future. And I think that's what the issue is right now. Um, the UFC for a while, they put a lot of eggs in the John Jones, Conor McGregor baskets that ultimately didn't really pan out because a lot of fallouts, a lot of the money, whatever the case. And the fact that that the heavyweight division hasn't turned out with certain stars the way they hoped it had, Tom Aspinall getting hurt does not help. But I think that there needs to be a little bit more grace with the fact that the UFC is developing stars right now, but there's really no one specific to hang their hat on at the moment. Um, I guess that's the best way I could put it. But that being said, that's okay. I think that the White House card is going to do exactly what I've been arguing about, what you've been saying for a long time. It's going to do it on accident as opposed to being on purpose. That card is going to have eyes on it regardless. That card is going to draw the ratings, no matter what, because it is what it is. Because we don't have the quote unquote stars now, they're going to put on the guys and the girls that they're investing in on that card. And then now the spotlight's going to be on them, and people are going to follow them going forward. So the UFC will fall forward at the very least with this White House card. I know that was a little long-winded, but that's how I feel about it.
All right. So my take on this whole thing is, and Ryan, bear with me because I feel like I may be so deep into the weeds or just so
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it.
oblivious to fans, what fans think or what fans want. And I may be just completely oblivious to that. So like bear with me a bit about my opinion on this, but it's kind of odd though to because we're living in a different time. And I think the times are changing and everything is all relevant to the times. And I just think that we're in a time right now where it's very difficult to determine what a star actually is, and not
Hmm.
just in MMA, but in anything in general.
Hmm.
Because like with social media and like you don't know, I don't even know what a star really is anymore. Like 20 years ago and prior to that. And I was thinking about this the other day, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a star, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was a star. And and I always measure that by how you're treated at an airport. Like if you go to an airport and people are mobbing you, you're a star. If they don't mob you, you're probably not a star.
Hmm.
And I just don't think that anybody in MMA would get mobbed at an airport.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in many sports or any form of entertainment, unless you're like Taylor Swift and maybe Bad Bunny right now, but there's not a lot of people that can consider themselves like a real star. I don't know if this is a cop out for saying that UFC doesn't have stars, but I just think that it's very difficult. There's a handful of people right now that really can say that they're a global star or even a universal star or even maybe I don't want to say an American star. That's a bit unfair, but I just don't know if there's anybody that can really say that they're a star and they get mobbed everywhere they go. Like, can you think of any like
And
I was talking to Dustin Poirier, and he's of one of the most popular MMA guys, right? And
yeah.
he's in modestly, he'll say he gets confronted at times, like when he's out in grocery stores and mothers will see him, or like, and he'll be like, "Yeah, it happens," but he's not like, "Yo, man, I can't even go out because it's crazy like that." Like I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody's like that, like anybody, no one. So to me, that's what a star is. So like, and it's very difficult for me to say that there are no stars. So my level of stardom is so high that to me there can't be any stars because like no one really commands that except for maybe Connor. Like Connor would probably still get that at an airport. Perhaps John Jones, maybe like people running up on him, but not like Connor. So I don't know if there's so to say that there are no stars, it's a bit for me. I'm like, well, of course there's not because there's no one is really like that.
It also doesn't help in the last 10 or 12 years that the UFC's biggest stars, even Ronda Rousey kind of falls into this category. The UFC's biggest stars were kind of troublemakers. Well, Ronda was never in any legal trouble, but she had a mouth. Um, so I wonder if fans like me and you, we know these people and we know there's good people in the sport, so we dismiss that. We're really tight to it. But I wonder if general fans are just like waiting for the next person they're building up to get into some kind of trouble, and then they just don't trust the sport or the athletes' personas based on that.
I mean, it could be because like that seems you're right. There seems to be some an association between a level of stardom and then how much trouble you get into or you're whether it's legal or just,
Yeah.
common beef with people. But um but with that being said, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and say that we do have stars and that Matt Brown has a point here with there. Well, he says we don't have stars, but I'm going to say that we do have stars. Let's say that we do have stars. Let's say that we have our stars are Alex Bajeda, Hamzat Chimaev, Ilya Taporia.
Okay.
I think if that is the case, and we do have them stars, they will price themselves out of the White House. Not because,
Yeah.
yeah, not because we don't have stars, but because the ones that we do have recognize that and will price themselves out to for us to fill up a card of stars.
And I also wonder too, I wonder what's the viewership these days compared to 2015 when Connor was at his height as far as UFC? Like, dude,
I think generally it's more,
that's what I
like
think.
fight nights and stuff like that. I think generally it's more. I mean, obviously the big numbers were done by Connor on those special occasions, but I think generally if you're talking about fight nights,
Yeah,
it's more.
overall, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel that there's more fans today in MMA than there was in 2015, 2016. So that makes me think of this too. Going to pro wrestling. I know me, if you were to ask me or any of our friends like that watch pro wrestling, who's the greatest wrestlers of all time? They'll be like The Rock, Stone Cold, Ric Flair. But the numbers suggest that John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time. Has the biggest drawing of all time. What am I getting at with that? So there, he's not the star that we feel. He's not on that Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin level, but he's clearly in another level all on his own. We don't recognize that because he's not our guy. So MMA has changed a little bit in the last 10 years, and I think that its fandom has expanded. So I think that there's more stars out there or more people that are attractive to the general public than there was when Matt Brown was fighting. And I think that once that's recognized, that MMA has changed, UFC has changed, that might help clean a picture up a little bit.
Maybe. I mean,
Mhm.
I see what you're saying here. Um, yeah, I'm just curious as to what Matt Brown constitutes, what he constitutes as a star.
Mhm. Yeah. What does he constitute as a star? I mean,
Because that's really what it comes down to. Like define, like if you're saying we don't have enough stars to live up to the hype, define star.
I
To
think we
live
had
up to the
more
hype.
stories back then too. Like
Yeah.
Robbie Lawler was an attractive story coming back and winning the title. Conor McGregor, attractive story. Women's MMA was on its run. It was like there was a lot of shit going on, and we haven't had the quote unquote stories lately. It's all been the same narrative. Who could be the better bad guy? Like that's what it's kind of been like lately.
But I think with the White House card, I think the White House is very similar to the Sphere because at the end of the day, the White House is going to be the star.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
same way
that's
the Sphere
that's
was,
it. Hmm.
right? So you don't really necessarily have to load it with stars. What you do have to load it with is good fights.
Bingo.
That's so to say that, and I think this is one of the things that we're better off looking back at it and saying what an amazing card it was, as opposed to saying looking at it from looking at it in the future and saying, oh, this is going to be a great card. We're better off saying we'll see how this one shakes out, and then when it's over, we'll be like, yo, that was an amazing card.
Bingo. It reminds me of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. So people came to watch Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, but they stayed because of Amanda Serrano and what's her name? Kavanaugh? Uh
Uh,
anyway, but you know what I'm saying is
oh man, Katie Taylor.
Katie Taylor, yeah,
Yeah.
Kavanaugh. Ooh. But that's what I'm saying is like this people will come to watch the White House, but they'll stay to see the fighters develop. That's what I think. That's what I was hoping the UFC could do. It looks like they're going to be forced to do that. So uh, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important thing is that I mean you can have a headline by Alex Bajeda or Ilya Taporia, maybe two like quote unquote stars, but just
Mhm.
the rest of it, man, you just need to have dudes just banging.
Yeah, you gotta have somebody. I think if Max does a quick turnaround and fights somebody, that's probably their best bet.
Just having a BMF title on her,
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, BMF or just Max. Max is
or just Max?
he's well spoken. He's an exciting fighter. He's a name. I think that would benefit them a little bit. Although a quick turnaround for him right now is kind of tough to see.
Well, I think that what the UFC's kind of waiting on is just how things shake out with everybody else.
Yeah.
I think more than likely they're going to be looking to get mostly Americans on this.
Hmm.
My guess is to put as many Americans on this as possible, and and you can reserve some spots for the Ilia Toporias or even if Charles Oliveira beats Max,
Yeah.
like they'll reserve some spots for that. But I think that they're going to be looking to get as many like exciting Americans on this as possible.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make
Yeah,
sense.
that would be my guess. So
Yeah.
who knows, man? I guess the only time will tell. Only time
Yep.
will tell. Now, speaking of Americans making this happen, we got an American fighting this weekend who seems like he would be primed for a White House guard. That's Sean Strickland. Even though if he could just fight the way he trains, he'd be perfect for it. I'm just nervous about. But who knows? This is this is the weird thing about fighting. Is it like some days they just change?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, who is this guy? Like one, like Sean Strickland, the guy who just jabs and teeps, he might come out against Fluffy and just rough him up.
That guy dropped Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, right. Like, yo, who's this guy?
Oh man. I uh I really like this fight for Fluffy. I really like this fight. I just think that I don't think the jab's gonna give him fits like it gives everybody else. I think that he's nice and long. I think that he uses rangy punches well. He and when the way he wrestles, the way he clinches, he extends people and Sean's when Sean gets extended, he kind of gets in trouble when he's in clinch areas. So I think that and Fluffy, especially after his last fight, he's so strong with his grappling. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue. I just think that the ultimate game of rock, paper, scissors, that this goes in Anthony Hernandez's favor.
I think this is a great fight. And Anthony Hernandez, one of two things are going to happen. Anthony Hernandez is either going to punk Sean Strickland or he's going to bring out the best Sean Strickland we've ever seen. Because Sean Strickland gets away with fighting the way he does in terms of teep, jab, because
Yeah,
he's so awkward and guys have a hard time dealing with that. Like they kind of get frustrated with that. But I think Fluffy's not going to be intimidated or frustrated by that. And I think he's going to go in. He knows what the assignment is. I think he's going to go in and I think he's going to attack Sean. And that's going to force Sean to either fight as good as we know he can fight, or he's gonna bitch up.
I agree. I agree. Um, I it's going to be interesting. I wonder if Sean starts hot, but yeah, I think that's how it goes too. Personally, I think that I'm still feeling really good about Anthony. I'm just I like, but I do know what you're saying. Is Sean going to show up? Because when Sean does show up, he's fucking a hell of a fighter. Um,
I mean, just like the stories you hear about him from everybody in the gym. You talk to Nick Sid, you talk to Sal Barishna, and just like fighters are like, yo, man, I think Sean is he is nasty. Like his wrestling is nasty. His grappling is amazing. His boxing, like he trained with pro boxers, and a pro boxer, you're like, yo, this dude could box. And then we don't never get to see that.
yeah, he like narrows himself.
Yeah, we
I
don't
wonder why
never
that
get to see
is.
that. We don't never get to see that.
That's interesting.
Only time we get to see him really throwing down is against the influencers.
Yeah,
And that's not
yeah.
even showing the skills. He's just throwing down on them dudes.
Pretend he's an influencer.
Yeah. Well, just give us some passion. That's all I want. I want some passion. But no, but I think that but Fluffy is that guy who's either going to force Sean to fight to his capabilities or he's going to force him to quit. And I think that's really comes down to Sean's motivation because I can see a world in which he's just like, screw this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it happens to every fighter. It happened to me. My last fight, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like I noticed it like there was times in my last fight where this is what made me contemplate retirement because I was like, it wasn't the fight. There were certain situations where I'm like, usually I gut this out. I'm like, nah, I'm winning the fight, whatever. Like he can have this reversal, like like,
You
and
know,
I'm like,
exactly,
and
right?
I knew immediately following that that was an issue, and that's why like I took time to consider retirement, but I knew that was an issue. I knew that was an issue.
It's funny, and that's what I'm talking about. Like you just never know who's going to show up and when they're going to show up or who's just done at that point. Obviously, age plays a big factor in that. When fighters get older, it happens and it's a little easier to detect. That's why it's hard for me to pick uh Volkanovski to win fights because you
Hmm.
just never know when that's going to happen. It's hard for me to pick Kamaru Usman to win fights. They still seem to be going strong, but we both know, man, that when it hits, and you don't know it, and sometimes they don't even know it until they're in that second round, thinking,
No.
"Yo, man, I would much rather be at my kid's soccer game."
Yeah, yeah. There's other shit going on.
Yeah, like I got more shit going on, so why am I worried about this dude trying to take me down, getting elbowed in the face?
Oh man, so part of me is like Sean's too angry to get there, but we it happens to everybody, so we'll see.
All right, a couple other fights on the card. I want to just run these down.
Yeah, definitely.
We got, and this is an interesting story, and we should give him his props. Geoff Neal,
Yeah,
who's fighting Euros Medic, and Geoff Neal, who everybody had high hopes on. Again, like these are circumstances we don't know, but apparently, like he was an addict. Like he had substance abuse going on his entire career, and would only be sober for like 2 weeks, which explains his performances, his inconsistent performances. Like all the times where I was like, "Yo, Geoff Neal's nasty." Like this dude was probably binge drinking from weeks.
yeah. He was only 30% of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing because once that happens and he's able to shed that off, because we've talked so many times, I feel like every time there's a Geoff Neal fight, we're up for it. Like he's
Mhm.
just the guy is so talented, and then you just see like the way when fights don't go his way, they really don't go his way. They just slowly snowball and bup 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 bup. And just hearing this sounds like the monkey's off his back. He's got a renewed sense and he's rejuvenated. Hopefully, all those tools come together because Homeboy can swat, and he's super fucking talented. I mean, Medic is, this is gonna be a great fight,
Yeah,
first of
but
all.
and
But
Medellin ain't no slouch neither. And
yeah, yeah, he can
Medellin
crack, and
flying
he's
through.
very
Yeah.
linear with his punches. But yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this version of Geoff Neal as well. And that's awesome that he's like coming out about it. He's coming clean. He's, it's just, it's good to see.
I hope he shows up, man. Like I'm rooting for him, and I'm happy and proud of him for coming out and being honest about his situation. Just wish he did
Yeah,
a couple years ago before I started picking him in fights.
yeah.
Motherfucker. All right. Also, we got Dan Ige versus Melquizael Costa, and
Okay. Love Dan Ige. He's been on the show. But Melquizael Costa is someone who you can get behind in a UFC White House card with his story and like he's just owning not a disability, but like the pigmentation issue that he has. I love that guy, and this is what they should be celebrating. And they are, they're putting him on the card here, but like that's another great story in itself. And the guy could fight, and Dan Ige is another one who could really fight. So this is what I'm talking about. These fight night cards are really fucking good. But go ahead.
and then lastly, man, let's give a shout out to Ramij Brahimaj taking
Oh
on
yeah. So pissed
Bruno
he's on the
Soriano.
undercard. So pissed he's on the undercard.
Well,
I just,
it's still on TV. We can still watch it.
yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know. I'm just spiteful. Yeah, but no, you know how much like that dude's my favorite fighter now over Lerone Murphy. It's always I'm looking forward to seeing which version of him's gonna get better. I don't think the wrestling here. What's the opponent's name? I forgot. I just know he's got really good
Puni
wrestling.
Soriano.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to be an issue. I think that Ramaj, especially with his MMA training, he's got a wrestling background in his own right. I think his striking is going to blend wrestling just fine for defense and offensive purposes. I think that's a great fight for him. Um, Another fight, Ode Osbourne, that he's on the card. Um, I know he's won for his last four, but that dude, he might be the toughest out in the UFC. All things like if you stack him up with his record and everything. So he's another one who's going to show up.
Yeah, I think, and this is a solid opponent for him.
Yeah.
If he can just put it all together on fight night, he's going to be pretty good because he's really dangerous. He's got a lot to learn. Like he's
Hmm.
kind of been learning on the job in his own way. So, but he's coming around. I've spent a lot of time with him. We've worked together a few times, and he's coming around. He's coming around.
Yeah.
And he's a
Good.
good
I'm looking
human
forward.
being, man. He understands the game and he's doing whatever he can to stay out there in terms of marketing himself. His Instagram is really funny. He's got a lot of funny stuff on there. So, shout out to Ode. Hopefully
Yeah, I like
he's able to
Ode.
put it together this weekend and do some damage. I'm headed out to Houston on Friday, actually. I'm working the card. Hope it
Sick.
Eve. I might catch up with Eve, see if he can maybe have him take me out to eat or something.
Yeah, make him take you out to eat.
Yeah.
Make him
Just
take you to Whataburger real quick.
I know. All right. Anything else on that card strike you?
No, we kind of covered the meat and potatoes. Let's see here.
Phil Rowe, John Paul Labozniani. See if Phil Rowe can put it together. The most
Oh, Michelle
talented guy.
Perez on
Phil Rowe's super talented, but
yeah,
just
Phil
kind
is
of
super talented. Mhm.
freezes under the lights.
Mhm.
But
That
his opponent's
that
really solid too, though.
I gotta look into the opponent more. I don't really know him that well.
But
That's
yeah,
really it, I guess.
well, that's it then.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens. But watch UFC BJJ.
I will. I will.
That up. Pick that
I
up.
will.
Watch that, and we'll talk about it next week.
We will, and I will get on it.
No doubt
Hold me to
about
it,
it.
fans.
Yeah, you too. Watch UFC BJJ. Let me know what you think. Well, Ryan, as always, appreciate you making time to come chop it up with me.
Appreciate you. Thank you. We're taking this thing to the next level. We are the most knowledgeable mixed martial arts podcast. There's no question.
No doubt
Everyone
about
else
that.
needs to learn that.
Yeah. Well, because for me, I don't do this for clicks.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't do this for clicks. I'm not gonna say nothing for clicks. I do this because it's coming from the heart.
Although you do get in trouble somehow sometimes. It's never
No,
what we
because just
expected.
because I tell the truth. But I didn't do it for clicks. I'm doing it because it's true. So there's a difference in that.
Uh,
But if you enjoy the show and my truth and Ryan's truth, hit like, share, and subscribe. And on that note, this court is adjourned.